When people expect you to chase them, it often reveals their misunderstanding of your true value. They assume that your presence in their life was dependent on them, when in reality, your worth has never been tied to anyone's approval or validation. The expectation for you to run after those who walked away is rooted in a culture that glorifies dependency and diminishes self-respect. But when you refuse to chase, when you stand still and embrace peace, you send a message that your identity is not negotiable. You are not desperate because you understand a timeless principle. Anything that truly belongs in your life will never require you to beg for its place. Chasing often comes from fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of rejection, the fear that you might never find someone else who will love or appreciate you. But the moment you choose peace over that fear, everything changes. Peace is the evidence that you have clarity about who you are. It means you have chosen to live from a position of strength rather than weakness. You are not reacting to someone's decision to leave, you are responding with wisdom. And wisdom says, if you can walk away from me, you were never meant to stay. There is a profound difference between fighting for what is valuable and chasing what is toxic. Fighting for value means preserving what is healthy, mutual, and purposeful. Chasing toxicity, however, means compromising your dignity for something that is destroying your peace. Many women lose years of their lives running after relationships that were never designed to last. They lose themselves trying to prove their worth to people who cannot even see it. But when you refuse to chase, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your mental well-being. You start living in alignment with your worth, and that is where transformation begins. Understand this. Desperation blinds you, but peace opens your eyes. When you are desperate, you overlook red flags, you tolerate disrespect, and you accept less than what you deserve. But when you are at peace, you start seeing clearly. You realize that not every disconnection is a loss sometimes, it's a divine escape. The people who walked away were not a part of your destiny, they were a part of your process. And if they could leave, it means their role in your story was temporary. When you know your value, you stop negotiating your peace for someone else's presence. You stop explaining why you deserve to be loved, honored, and respected. You realize that your identity was never meant to be defined by relationships or people's opinions. You were created with purpose, and that purpose cannot be fulfilled while you are chasing validation. This is why you choose peace, because peace allows you to grow, to think clearly, and to attract what truly aligns with your destiny. The truth is, those who expected you to chase them often assumed they were irreplaceable. They thought their absence would break you, that you would lose yourself trying to bring them back. But you surprised them. You chose stillness, you chose peace, and in that moment you demonstrated true strength. You showed that love should never come at the cost of dignity. You showed that peace is priceless. So, the next time someone expects you to run after them, remember this principle. What is yours will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. You are not chasing because you are not desperate. You are choosing peace because you understand your value. And that, woman, is the ultimate power. Peace is never accidental. It is the result of intentional choices and clear priorities. When a woman decides that peace is more valuable than the approval of others, she has shifted into a higher level of wisdom and self-awareness. This decision does not come easily because the world often trains us to prioritize relationships, appearances, and acceptance above inner well-being. But peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you guard and protect by deciding what matters most in your life. When you value peace, you reorder your priorities. You begin to ask, what truly deserves my time, my energy, and my presence? Toxic relationships thrive where boundaries are absent. They survive because drama becomes normal and chaos is mistaken for passion. When you choose peace, you remove the oxygen that fuels toxicity. You are no longer willing to be pulled into endless arguments, emotional manipulation, or cycles of disrespect. This does not mean you hate the people who bring toxicity into your life. It means you love yourself enough to step away. Choosing peace is an act of strength, not weakness. It takes more courage to walk away from what is familiar than to stay in something that destroys you slowly. Many people stay connected to toxic situations because they fear starting over, they fear loneliness, or they fear judgment. But what they don't realize is that staying in dysfunction costs more than leaving it. It costs your mental health, your self-esteem, and your destiny. When you prioritize peace, you are saying, my well-being is more important than temporary comfort. Peace creates clarity, and clarity creates growth. In toxic environments, you cannot hear your own thoughts because the noise of drama drowns out your inner voice. But when you step into peace, your mind becomes calm, and your spirit can breathe again. You begin to think differently. You start to dream again. You begin to align with your God, given identity and purpose. Toxicity delays progress because it keeps you focused on survival instead of success. But peace positions you for expansion because it gives you the space to plan, to build, and to flourish. It's important to understand that prioritizing peace will cost you something. You may lose relationships, friendships, or even opportunities that are tied to toxic people. You may be misunderstood. Some will call you cold, distant, or proud. But these are the opinions of those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Do not let their words pull you back into dysfunction. They are upset because you removed their access to your energy without conditions. They were comfortable when you tolerated everything. Now they are uncomfortable because you value yourself. When you make peace your priority, you will attract what aligns with peace. People who are healthy, respectful, and supportive will find their way to you because your energy no longer entertains chaos. Your circle will shrink, but the quality of your connections will increase. You will find that your conversations become deeper, your environment becomes safer, and your heart becomes lighter. This is the reward of peace. It multiplies everything good in your life. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. It is not about avoiding problems. It is about refusing to live in a state of constant war. You cannot build a future in the middle of destruction. You cannot hear divine direction in the midst of confusion. This is why peace must become your non-negotiable priority. It is the foundation for every other blessing in your life, your relationships, your purpose, your joy, your success. Without peace, everything else becomes unstable. So, woman, make this decision today. No more trading peace for temporary connections. No more sacrificing your mental health to keep people comfortable. No more allowing chaos to dominate your life. Choose peace, protect it fiercely, and watch how your life transforms. When you make peace your priority, you open the door for everything that truly matters to flow into your life effortlessly. Sometimes when people walk out of your life, the first reaction is to feel abandoned, rejected, or unworthy. But the truth is, separation is often a divine strategy, not a sign of failure or loss. Many times, what looks like rejection is actually protection. When someone leaves, it does not always mean you are not valuable. It can mean that their assignment in your life has ended, or that their presence was blocking what is meant to come next. Understanding this principle is the difference between living in pain and living in peace. Every person who enters your life is not meant to stay forever. Some relationships are seasonal. They come to teach you something, to grow you in a specific area, or to push you toward your destiny. When the season ends, trying to hold on only delays your progress. Imagine carrying someone into a future that was never designed for them. You end up draining yourself and slowing down your purpose. This is why divine separation happens. It is not cruelty, it is alignment. When someone walks away and you do not chase, it means you understand timing and purpose. It means you trust that life is not random and that God does not make mistakes. You believe that if their absence was permitted, then their presence is no longer required. This is maturity, realizing that not everyone who starts with you will finish with you, and that's okay. You can bless people as they leave without bitterness because you know that your destiny is bigger than any single relationship. The pain of separation often comes from attachment. We attach our identity to people, roles, and expectations. When those connections break, we feel as if a part of us is missing. But what if those attachments were never meant to define us? What if losing them is what makes room for what truly belongs? Many women hold on to toxic relationships out of fear of being alone, not realizing that loneliness is temporary, but peace is permanent. When you accept separation as divine strategy, you replace fear with faith. You start saying, if this door closed, there must be a better one waiting. Here's the truth, you cannot step into the new while holding on to the old. You cannot receive what is next if your hands are still full of what was. Separation clears your life of the distractions and delays that would have kept you from your purpose. Sometimes the very people you are crying over were secretly praying against you, doubting you, or draining your energy. Their eggs, it is not your loss, it's your liberation. You were not created to chase what walked away. You were created to grow, to advance, and to fulfill a purpose bigger than your pain. When you see separation this way, you stop asking, why did they leave me? And start declaring, thank you for removing what was not for me. That mindset shift changes everything. Instead of trying to force doors open, you start walking through the ones that open naturally. Instead of begging for people to stay, you start attracting those who are aligned with your values, your peace, and your destiny. And here's the beautiful part. What is meant for you will never require you to compromise who you are to keep it. So, woman, stop grieving over what left and start preparing for what's coming. Stop wondering why they thought you would chase them and start celebrating that you had the strength to let them go. Choosing peace over toxicity is not weakness. It is wisdom. And wisdom knows this. Separation is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a chapter that is healthier, stronger, and more purposeful than anything you've experienced before. When you decide to stop chasing what is toxic and instead choose peace, you make a powerful statement about yourself. Worth. Self-worth is not something others can give you. It is something you must recognize within yourself. When you know your value, you no longer settle for relationships or environments that diminish it. You understand that being treated with respect, love, and honor is not a privilege. It is a standard. And any connection that requires you to sacrifice your dignity is not one that deserves your presence. People often think that holding on tightly to others will keep them from leaving, but real connections do not need force. Love, respect, and loyalty cannot be begged for. They must be given freely. The moment you start begging, pleading, and chasing, you unconsciously lower your worth in your own eyes. You begin to communicate that you are willing to compromise your peace just to be chosen. But when you step back and choose peace instead, you say to the world, I know who I am, and I refuse to fight for a place in someone's life who does not want me there. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and value, not on desperation. When someone truly sees your worth, you won't have to convince them. They will honor you, appreciate you, and protect the connection because they know it is rare and valuable. But when someone takes you for granted, they assume you will always be available no matter how they treat you. That assumption is what gives birth to manipulation and control. The day you decide not to chase, you break that cycle. You take back your power. Here's the truth. People who underestimate you will always expect you to prove your worth to them. They thrive on keeping you in a state of insecurity so they can feel superior. But the moment you decide that your value is not up for negotiation, everything changes. You no longer engage in arguments to validate yourself. You no longer seek closure from people who enjoy leaving you confused. You no longer accept less than what you deserve because you believe that something better will come, and guess what? It does. When you know your value, you begin to attract what aligns with it. You attract people who respect your time, honor your boundaries, and celebrate your presence. You attract opportunities that match your potential, not ones that exploit your weakness. You create an atmosphere around you that says, only what adds peace and growth can stay. And that is the power of self-worth. It determines what enters your life and what leaves it. Choosing peace over chasing is not about pride, it is about preservation. It is about protecting the best parts of yourself from being wasted on people who cannot appreciate them. It is about saying, I am enough as I am, and I refuse to lower my standards for temporary validation. This is not arrogance, it is self-respect, and when you respect yourself, the right people will too. So, let this be your declaration. You are no longer chasing anyone who walks away. You are no longer proving your value to people who refuse to see it. You are no longer compromising your peace just to feel loved. Instead, you are standing firm in the truth that what is meant for you will come without manipulation, without begging, and without losing yourself. You are worthy of love that is pure, relationships that are healthy, and a life that is full of peace. And when you operate from that place of worth, everything in your life begins to align with the greatness that is already within you. The time has come for you to make a decision that will change the trajectory of your life. You have heard the truth. Your value is not found in chasing, your peace is your priority. Separation is a divine strategy, and your self-worth determines what you attract. These principles are not just ideas. They are life-changing realities when you apply them. You do not need to run after anyone to prove your worth. You do not need to exhaust yourself to keep people who do not want to stay. If they walked away, let them. If they underestimated you, bless them. If they thought you would chase, show them that you choose something greater. Peace, dignity, and purpose. The woman who knows her value never competes for attention. She commands respect through her silence, her standards, and her choices. You are that woman, and from this moment forward, let every decision you make reflect the truth that you deserve a life free from toxicity, full of peace, and aligned with your destiny. This is not just about letting go, it's about rising higher. It's about becoming everything you were created to be without the weight of people who were never meant to carry that journey with you. So, stand firm, stay at peace, and watch how everything that truly belongs to you will find its way without you ever having to chase. Your future is calling, and it is filled with purpose, clarity, and joy. Step into it, free, whole, and unstoppable.